Hello and welcome to today's episode of The Adventures of the Windswift. It's a full house as usual, and that's how we like it. Now, last week we were arriving at a new city and there was lots of trade and flamboyant outfits going on, and I see they seem to have followed some of us. Idris. So without lingering too long on that, number 3, 1, 2, 3... That's Jorik, but I'm going to veto that because Jorik's been giving us a whole bunch of reviews in the past, so I'm going to move it on to the one who's dressed in those colours, Idris.
Yeah. You're already dice fudging. We didn't even start yet.
Exactly. Cheating all the way, absolutely.
Well, last time we started in a lovely druid grove with a lovely druid person, and Con was off speaking to the Oakkin and got some further support. The Oakkin was going to try to help us talk to the various world leaders and try to make them all stop fighting and play nice. And Con inexplicably recruited the druid person, who is now going to grow some kind of lichen garden in the hold of our ship. And then we headed up north in the sort of general direction of Belenhold and Sector 13 and sort of the general area of where things are going down. And we are stopping on the way in a city called Lorcan, or Lorcan Castle, where our new fellow Atramentum jumped off to speak with the local guild to sort of try to figure out some information about where his quarry might be. And the rest of us are going shopping. Or me and Jorik are going shopping. And that's pretty much what happened.
That's a fairly brief summation, but yes, it was a fairly light episode, as a matter of fact.
We also promoted Lieutenant Titus.
Yes, we did. A lot of sort of character things happened.
Exactly.
We were sort of chatting and planning and stuff.
Correct. All right, so let's...
Oh, we sent off Viz to start his own army.
Yes,
we haven't sent him off yet, right?
We just agreed that he would take his own ship, but we've still got to find that said
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got to say goodbye and...
I mean, that's something that Murphy could certainly provide.
Oh, well, they can certainly provide a good meal, can't they? Sushi, anyone? Right, so on that note, let's start at the top of the block. Con, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Yes, so as I said, once I'm satisfied, I mean, obviously Ty's now in command of the ship, so I need really Atramentum's help to do what I need to do, and I know where he's going to be later. So I just make.
I mean, that's where I'm heading right now, anyway.
So once I'm happy everyone's doing whatever they need to be doing, and I've harvested my plants, I head off in search of the shrieking.
No.
Screaming Siren.
That's it. The Screaming Siren Tavern, apparently.
All right, so that's where you're heading. The Screaming Siren Tavern. You ask a few people for pointers, and these are humans. And when you say, "Where's the Screaming Siren?" they look at you and they go, "Well, we're not one to judge. It's down that area, more towards the docksides." Well, you
One
can't.
has a sense of deja vu. It feels like.
Absolutely. You kind of look around hoping that there's no ceiling above you, and there isn't. There's just spectacular blue Brunei sky stretching off in all different directions.
No ogres.
No ogres, no. You arrive at the Screaming Siren. You realise why it had such reputation. It's painted purple, and the doors look like this gigantic mouth with rather badly made wooden fangs at the top and at the bottom. And the steps you can see once were painted to look like a giant tongue, but the number of people moving up and down it is no longer. It's packed. There are sailors everywhere, just sort of coming in and out, and very rough types moving around. They sort of eye you up and down. One youngster starts to come towards you, great big grin on his face, and the impression is that something is up, but he gets halfway towards you when this very large woman steps in between you and her. She has more muscles than you suspect is actually physically possible for a living being to have. Her muscles have got little muscle clusters around them to make more muscles.
An anime character.
Yeah, she is a Titan. You realize that she must be one of the barbarians from the far north. And she looks down at you and she doesn't say anything. What do you do?
Goodness me, you are magnificent.
She, you're not sure if that makes her happy or not. She kind of flexes and grows almost twice in width. And
Most impressive. Good grief. I mean, you would probably be able to pop my head like a berry.
you a druid.
I am.
Then I want to see you. Right
okay.
now, as a matter of fact.
Very well. Fascinating. Tell me more.
I have a wound. You will fix it.
I see. That is definitely something that can be arranged.
Good. She
Shall we
points
find
into the
somewhere-
screaming siren.
Right. After you, lead the way.
Yeah, that's a lot easier than you doing that. And she leaves a nice wake, which you sort of follow in. You can see that inside there are probably about 15 more incredibly heavily muscled people. And most of them are sort of sitting drinking vast quantities of alcohol. But you realize that most of them look as if they should probably all be in bed. Loincloths, leather straps, shoulder harnesses and things are sitting over incredibly large wounds that have sort of been bandaged badly and left. They look like a bunch of people who really are heavily injured and just don't care. She looks over at one man who's slumped in the corner, and he's very, very pale. Lots of blood has pooled around him, and she says, "Make him better."
What the hell's been going on? Were you in a fight? I say as I start to sort of examine him as he's still breathing.
No, we were in a victory.
That's good. Yes. Right, fine. What happened?
You really want to know?
I appear to have the time, and it's good to have something to listen to whilst I examine the... Is it a corpse? Is it breathing?
You're not sure. It's like, I don't know if I feel here for a pulse, because does solid muscle have a pulse? I don't know where his arteries are.
But if he's dead, he will not have any kind of flex.
Correct,
Right?
correct.
Is he flexing that he's still alive?
She turns around and she says, "Bjarlen, you're here to sing. The doctor wants music. Make him happy." And this very, very thin, very, very sad-looking old man comes forward and goes, "Yes, yes, yes." He looks at you with he's a human, he's not a barbarian, and he, what would you like me to sing, sir?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing else matters.
There is this meaty...
Desperately looking around the place for a pair of familiar horns.
As you say nothing...
Why did he come to this place?
the large woman, she just backhands the back of this old man, and she says, "You're useless. He doesn't even want you to sing. What an insult. Why did we hire you as our bard? You are not worthy of being in our company. I cussed you out. You are no longer around. Go away."
He's like, "Thank you."
He's unconscious.
Or he's dead.
Yeah. She looks down at you. "You still want the music? I will get another bard."
No music, just an explanation.
What kind of explanation?
who you are, why you're here, what happened with the victory, and all that. You know, the basics.
All right, I'll come back to you. Jorik and Adressai, the two of you have gone to go and trade.
Yes.
It's-
And just like came sort of swanning out with the most absolutely fancy clothes they own. Just a sort of dress-like thing with this huge, like almost tapestry down over one shoulder and a sort of head completely wrapped in expensive silk scarves and these sort of wide embroidered harem pants and just like the biggest clipboard you've ever seen and just with rhinestones on it. Just
Well, that is suitably ostentatious.
I
Good.
thought so. This is
All
gonna
right.
be so great.
And you guys...
Okay, what's your name? What's my name?
My name is Ambar. You can pick whatever name you want.
Ambar. Just Ambar?
Ambar of Kotu.
Okay.
I'm a wares trader from Deathwind.
Of course. I knew that.
In this case, I'm an ink trader.
Yes.
Because I have ink.
My name is... I don't know. What's my name? Help. I'm not good at names.
Sealy. Sealy's fine.
Sealy?
Yeah.
All right. Fine. Sure. That works.
Good.
Oh,
You're
wow.
Sealy.
I kind of wish I was
Yes.
going. This is going to be funny.
It's crazy. And your mission, you're going out to what? Get supplies for the ship?
Yes, and sell off the ink and the excess loot we got from the elves. Any weapons we don't need that we looted from Naxa. Holy crap, we're pirates. That's the stuff.
All right, so
Keep
you're
enough
selling
weapons
off
for the
everything.
crew.
Yes.
Wait, did you
And,
just call me
I
silly?
picked up, if there's any
enough
specific
weapons.
goods to this area, I pick those up so we can sell them elsewhere.
Okay,
Keep enough weapons for the crew
Yes,
and for new members of the crew.
that's why I said
We need an-
excess weapons.
Armory. Account for people we don't yet have.
Connor's hiring an army. So between the two of you, I need you to please
I
give me
think I
an...
found one.
Yeah, I think so too. So one of you is
Can I
helping
just-
the other.
I'll
Yeah.
help him.
All right. So then, Jorik, would you please give me an investigate check? You have advantage.
Advantage. Yes. That is 22.
22. All right. So you two ingratiate yourselves into the markets, and
We're ridiculously flamboyant.
yeah,
Yes.
the con kind of plays off as well because you also dared sail into the harbour. So you learn two things. One, the rivalry with the merfolk and the elves has got to the point now where any foreign ship, whether it's Elvish or Bernese or anything, gets attacked and sunk by the merfolk. The elves have closed their borders because of this magnificent attack on Quethlan, which rumour has it has been razed to the ground. There is some uncertainty as to who did it, but the general consensus is it must have been the merfolk because, well, they're at war with the elves. And that kind of makes sense to everybody. So that's kind of the assumed status quo. As a result, there is some severe nervousness. The King of Brunei has been approached. This was as of yesterday's fresh news, as fresh as it can possibly be. The King of Brunei has been approached to start to use the navy to escort merchant ships up and down the Erwith Sea coastline. That could bring Brunei into conflict with the merfolk people, which has obviously caused some issues. But as far as everyone knows, the King of Brunei is in Grantham Keep and has said nothing. But of course, news does take time to travel all the way out here to Lorcan Castle. So that's the one thing that you find out. The other thing that you find out is that ink here is going to give you a return of about 5% on what you originally invested.
All right. That's not great, but we'll take it, I
At
suppose.
the moment, all trade is really stuck. If you were trading in, say, heavy weaponry or in armor, well, there is a little bit of concern. What if the merfolk do turn their attentions on the Brunei coast? Lorcan Castle would certainly be a prize to take, given its completely surrounded. Well, there's the river on the one side, and of course, merfolk now magically can not only sail underwater, but they can now fly above it because, well, you get flying fish, don't you know? So that way means you must get flying merfolk too. There is some concern as to how do they breathe whilst they fly, but it's generally given that flying fish don't run out of oxygen while they're flying, so the merfolk probably do the same kind of thing. You know, it's owing to the pouches of venom that they store in their gill sacs and the tentacles that they have. That's the kind of nonsense that you're hearing out and about in the town as you make your way around.
Sorry. Can we convince people that if this thing escalates, wares out of Athene Vasul is going to become incredibly difficult to get a hold of very soon? So you might want to buy this precious ink because it might be the last shipment out of Athene Vasul in a very, very long time. This is true.
Give me a persuasion check. You have advantage. I like that. I like that angle.
Natural 20.
Oh,
Well, you know, the Cathar are usually spice traders. So the thinking is if the Cathar have now gone into trading ink, there's got to be lots of money in ink. So you have managed... I'm going to roll a d10 here.
Okay.
You have
Get ready
managed-
for this bad pun. Would you say they don't have an inkling?
oh my god.
We're about to get peppered with offers.
Oh dear, 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 dear,
No,
dear,
no,
dear,
no.
dear, dear. Well, you've now managed to increase your return to 14% because of that.
Hey!
That's
So
Hey,
that's
That's an excellent point, Silly.
that's
Good on you.
thank you, Umpire. This is why you hired me.
Indeed.
Yeah, would
pay
you
you
both
handsome.
then make perception checks, please?
Fine. If you're gonna be that way.
Spot the assassin.
Perception +4. 16.
23.
Oh my god. This is why I hired you.
This is why you
Yes.
were hired, absolutely. You managed to fend off 3 pickpockets who have attempted to lighten that significant purse that you have sort of brought with you. All right, Saket. What are you doing?
Yes. Is Viz still on board?
Yes, he is preparing to... well, he's preparing, let's just put it that way.
Oh dear. Well, first of all, I'm going to approach Viz, and I'm going to be like, well, we need to find a way of communicating with each other about who you've managed to find, persuade to come on board our idea. So I don't know, maybe we could go and have a look in the market for communication devices, or we've got these 2 stones, and I'm kind of like, I think Idris might be able to retune them, but I'm not sure if her magic. But I'm wondering if 9 could retune the stones somehow, because he works with it's stone. It's stone. He likes stones. I don't know. But yeah, I think we need to come up with a plan of action to who you're going to recruit and how you're going to let us know what you've done somehow.
Since my first approach is to find Captain Mutaru, last reported within the Goblin territories,
I understand.
I
Yes.
suspect the vessel that I select here within these fertile grounds, he sort of says, taking in the harbour, will be small but swift, thus allowing me to navigate the swamp territories of the
Kinda makes
Goblin
sense. Yes.
inlands to find Captain Mutaru.
I
A
suspect he will
small
not be
crew.
hard to find.
His
He's conspicuous.
reputation is that of being bold and enchanting from afar. I suspect it won't be difficult to find him either. Once I have him, if his vessel is operational, he should have an oracle on board. Surely they can re-establish connections.
Our oracle hasn't been very well recently because well, I think that's kind of my fault, and I've given her lots of tea, and I believe it's been drunk. Uh, uh, yeah. I can try and approach Lily again to come out of her comatose state, but
I am no expert on how the oracles work. Perhaps if Mutaru's oracle reaches to this one, there will be a spark.
maybe. We kind of made her see things that she didn't want to see.
Understood. We usually allow for a period of 3 weeks, after which consumption is suitable.
Well, we don't want you to eat, Lily. If you're really hungry, we can go and find you something to eat.
That's unnecessary.
Oh God, what have you been eating?
We are knight and crew, aren't we?
Shouldn't ask questions like that, Seket. Suffice it to say, I am satisfied. Long-range communications might be established through these stones you speak of. I am no wizard of that sort.
Nor am I. I'm a sorcerer, I think, somehow. Yes. Anyway, on the front of boats, how are you planning to acquire said boat? I mean, we can't afford to buy one.
Irrelevant information. I will secure a vessel. You need not concern yourself with my safety.
Okay.
I like this guy.
Try not to consume everybody on board.
That
But,
would be foolish. Sluggishness results from overconsumption.
Yes. Yes. It's one little side note there. I don't want our new organization to become associated with, say, piracy, for example, or practices that make us seem particularly dubious, and therefore undermining our overall actions to rid the world of.
Once the new
Since the
order
graveyard robber.
is established, we will be able to dictate what others think of us.
Okay, I can see that we're gonna get far. Right. Well, I can't do much until Idris gets back in her little jaunty outfit with 9 because I can't speak to him. But I'm glad we agree that we need some sort of form of communication. How much longer are you planning to stay on board the Windswift?
I depart this evening.
To find a new ship.
Yes.
Okay. So I've got until this evening to come up with a plan of communication. That's good to know. Okay. Well, I think I might just pop it to the market and see if there's anything there, but I doubt it. I think, well, actually, I'll find some good food. But that's a side note too. And I think I better go check on Lily. But thank you for talking to me, Viz. That was illuminating, I think.
As you say.
Thanks, I hate it.
Atramentum, you are heading where exactly?
To the tavern.
To the Screaming Siren. Yes. You arrive at the front of the Screaming Siren. You know automatically that is for the... Well, that's for the proprietor and people who actually think that this is a tavern. And so you make your way to the alleyway on the side, down the back of the alleyway to a small set of stairs which descends down to a fairly well-built door. And as you approach, the door opens automatically, magic sort of flaring around its edges. And a rather neatly dressed tiefling gives you the once-over, makes sure that you are an actual tiefling, and then says... hang on a moment. As you enter, I'm just making a note here of something that I suddenly saw, and I need to know that before you get there. As you enter, he looks you up and down, and he says, "In the name of the Velari, you are welcome into our tavern, brother."
I nod.
You step in, and there are several tieflings, not a lot, probably 6 or 7 in the entire room. Some quietly enjoying a drink. 2 of them are
Just
playing.
one room, exits?
So, yes, there's an exit out of the bar area. Obviously, it's an archway. It leads somewhere into the back. Then there's a set of stairs going down. There is a ladder going up to a hatch, which you suspect leads into the building above. And then there is another closed door, which, by the looks of it, is probably where you would access accommodation for this space. And then finally, there's a little alcove, which, by the scent of it, is the latrine.
Okay, so this is basically the living area directly.
Yeah, pretty much. This is the common area where one might socialize. Correct.
Okay, so they were sitting on a table, you said?
Yeah, there are a couple sort of sitting around a table, sort of quietly drinking. There's a pair that is busy playing a tiefling game, which is to use knuckle bones, and you sort of bet on where the knuckle bones are going to fall, and you try and knock your opponent's knuckle bones over. Yeah, it's called Cull the Assassin. As you basically try and remove your opponent's assassins from the board before he assassinates your assassins. It's a standard tiefling game.
Yep, I sit down.
Sure.
And I nod, and I say, I'm looking for information.
Obviously the owner of some kind walks up to you. You are from which cabal?
I kind of look at him. I kind of grip in under the ropes that I have and pull the amulet out, and then put it back in.
You have not been in Brunei for very long. This I understand. Do not worry. So, my friends, you want information?
I nod.
What can we do for your cabal?
My quarry.
Do you have a name or a description?
Both.
Very well.
I give him description and name, and I tell them recently escaped from the Elvish
Oh,
kingdoms.
you don't need to continue your sentence, my friend. We know exactly where that individual is. Or at least where he was. Someone of that peerage doesn't just step out of a circle in the middle of your city and not get noticed, huh? He arrived here about 3 days ago. And
In the city?
Correct. It was an unusual arrival. He was under, obviously, a significant amount of duress. He arrived and almost immediately collapsed onto the street, where he appeared out of what looked to be some kind of dimensional door. This, of course, is an impossibility, yes? So how did he get here? We do not know this. Where did he go? We do know this. He went into the Temple of Tandas. From there, 2 days ago, an official theocracy wagon departed from the Temple of Tandas under the flag of Ellenhold.
So towards Valenhold.
It is Ellenhold wagon, yes. These are
Right.
protected within Brunei. You should realize this.
So, just general question. The Temple of Thunders, there would be just one in this city, and that's what he is speaking about.
Correct. Tandas, the god of magic.
Right, and he said like 3 days ago, right?
That's when he arrived. He departed 2 days ago. Yes. But you should
Right.
know those wagons are protected under Branai law.
I nod. I stand up and say, thank you very much. Anything else I need to know about?
No, that is it.
I nod and leave.
He goes to the bar and sort of makes a note as you head out. Back to you, Con.
And I go around and enter in the front, right?
Oh, you can. All right. Yes, you step around and enter into the front to see this large collection of fairly heavily armed barbarians. All they appear to be sitting absolutely quietly, and they're all watching poor old Con, who has this incredibly large woman standing directly in front of him, watching as he goes about his business. Give me a medicine check, if you wouldn't mind, please, Con.
Wow. So that would be 27.
20. Oh, well, absolutely. Okay, so you have to use magic to save him because he's on his last legs. It looks as if he's been hit by several merman spears and cutlasses and barbed darts and things, because you instantly recognise the damage. So you know how to treat it, of course, as well.
And at sea, then?
Yeah. We have been fighting for the elves, haven't we? Yes, we have. And we were on one of their ships, which, we had our victory. We protected the ship from the merfolk. It's not our fault that the contract didn't include that we had to protect the sailors on the ship.
Right.
Yep. And they're not very good fighters, if you don't mind me saying so. So we kept the ship safe. No merfolk took the ship. There was just no elves left, so we considered the contract over.
And the ship?
It's not our ship. We're not pirates. We didn't steal it.
What did you do with it?
We left it. It's not ours.
Of course. Quite correct.
And I would hope that you're not implying that you would like to go and pick up a free ship just floating outside the harbour. That would make you very dishonourable, and that would not be a nice thing.
So I cast Cure Wounds on the dying one before me.
He starts to sort of lift his head.
12. To be precise.
Nice.
Immediately starts flexing.
Definitely sort of raises his eyes. The moment he raises his eyes, there's this thunderous cheer that goes up from the 15 people inside. And
I start to push my way towards him and push him out of the way if necessary.
You do. They're elated, and it's a tavern, so that's part and parcel of what's going on. You see Atramentum sort of stepping through. The woman looks down at you. You've done well. What is your payment?
Would you classify yourselves as currently unemployed?
Yes.
I may have a job for you, actually. Shall we say that in recompense, your first month of service is free whilst we evaluate each other, after which, if we are happy to remain in contract, we can negotiate a fair wage.
You want to hire us in exchange for saving Carla's life? For a month?
Mm-hmm.
She looks to the men around her. She speaks to them in the very lyrical sort of sounding tones of the barbarians. There's some sort of discussion. She turns back. What sort of compensation are we going to get for working for you for a month? You save Carla's life, that's true, but what happens if one of us gets injured and you have to save us again? Does that mean we have to work for another month? Because that doesn't sound very fair to me.
No, not at all. Once you're actually on board and in service, you will be treated like any other member of the crew.
She turns
You'll
back.
have somewhere to sleep. eat, and medical attention so long as you're serving.
Hörni grabbar, vi försök.
We have particularly
Försök. Och han kommer att leka oss om vi blir skadade.
That's it. That's exactly what she's saying. That's lovely. She turns back to you. It's a deal. Where do we go?
Momentum. Excellent. Well, my business here is, how many of them are there?
15. 16.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Great start.
An army indeed.
I'm going to take this lot back to the boat. How have you done?
Yes,
Yes.
sufficiently.
Are we done here then? Or do you wish to remain? Have you someone you need to see here?
Well, the rest of the crew, and at noon tomorrow, I'm good to go.
Right, I'm going to take this lot back to the boat, let them settle in, and you have an engagement tomorrow, you say?
At noon.
At noon. Very well. Any information?
I kind of look around at the 15 people standing around us. Yes.
Solid. Look forward to hearing all about it. Come on, everyone. Let's show you your new home.
There's a question from one of the members.
Yes.
If might raise a point of order. Do you
Go
or
ahead.
do you not have a bard with you?
We do not.
In which case, we're going to have to amend our little agreement. It's impossible for us to act without having a bard with us. Someone has to tell the tales of our great heroism. And
You have a
we
bard.
currently don't have a bard.
He's your bard.
I thought you
He's on the
fired him.
floor.
He's our bard. There you go. Sorted. Bring him with you.
He's not
I
very...
just look at the big oaf, and I say, "We have a very studious note keeper. Do not worry."
Yes, we do.
Oh, you do.
A note keeper will be sufficient for our needs, yes. We agree. Accepted. Then
Very bad luck, old man.
Might I just add that your fake Swedish accent is spot on?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's fantastic.
so
It's really good.
yeah.
I've been watching that.
Lovely. I've been
I can't
watching
believe
Norseman.
so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
know.
so all right. So you guys, you troop out of the screaming siren with your army of people. Progress through the town is a lot easier because they clear the way just by walking, basically.
I could get used to this.
Yeah, you have this company of
The High
people.
Lord Archon Con.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Con.
Absolutely. It's at that point, Jorik and Adversai, you finished with your sort of sales and that sort of thing. Are you wanting to replace the cargo? It doesn't make sense because the ship's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah,
Indeed,
I think
and,
for now we need the money more.
Trading right now would be not profitable considering everyone is trying. Yeah. So no, we get.
But I mean, if we can promise to get people's stuff to a nearby, because like it's probably faster to sail to D-Day, for instance, than it is to ride through with horses up all the way north to Valenhold.
Yes, there is just that risk of being destroyed by the merfolk.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're fine. Like, if we can promise people to get their cargo to D-Day, for instance, we could probably make a lot of money. And I'm saying
Transportation.
we could probably do that.
Okay, so you do want to pick up cargo then?
Yeah, I think we can sort of advertise ourselves as we'll get
As a
your
transportation
cargo
vessel rather than a trading vessel right now.
for a lot of money.
We need a lot of money.
Yes, and I think we can sell that
We're already
quite.
spending it as
I mean, now technically, a little bit out of game talking here right now. Since we are the only vessel who ventures on the
Yeah.
any trader will pay their weight in gold.
Correct. Premium prices. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, since we're going to a place that is possible to reach via land, it's probably not as like outrageous as if we
Doesn't-
were going across the
Well,
ocean. But
if
I mean,
the-
it's still, yeah.
if the person needs to get there, they need to get
Yeah,
there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. So that's what you're going to spend the better half of the afternoon doing. Saket, what are you doing? You've kind of seen Vis off, and then you said you were going somewhere.
I'm going to go and check out how Lily is doing, surviving on cups of very strong tea.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, you actually find Lily sitting up in bed. And when you walk in, she gives you a fairly weak smile, as one does when one is fairly weak. And she looks at you and she says, "I've just received word from some of the other oracles. Not everyone is dead."
No, really? That's very exciting news. Who's not dead?
So far, I have counted 6 vessels that seem to be okay. Well, it's not the vessels; it's the crew. None of the vessels that I've managed to make contact with have actually survived. It's the crew just happened to be off them at the time. But you should know that all of their ships exploded.
Yes, I think we can safely say that when it comes to ships, we are a little under-resourced there.
Yes, there's another problem as well, I'm afraid. The incredible distances that we are separated by, and the fact that our tetrachon is missing. We cannot get hold of the tetrachon at all.
The tetrachon?
Yes, the
like
keeper of knowledge within the order.
Right.
We cannot get hold of the tetrachon or any of the attendants or assistants who used to work with the tetrachon. As a result, it means that we can only communicate for a brief period of time, probably once every 12 hours or so.
Okay. So we got 6 crews that are still alive.
Correct.
And no ships.
None that I've found so far.
Bang.
We have had contact by one archon. Well, at least he survived. Dar Chargol has survived. Ruka Dar Chargol.
Remind me again what he did. It doesn't ring a bell.
He was, or I should say, he is the archon of Brunei.
Ah, okay. Does that mean he's in Brunei?
It does, as a matter of fact. And, well, that's the good news.
Right. The bad news being?
He is not being... Well, how can I put this? He's been consulting with the king in Grantham Keep and hasn't been allowed out for the last 2 days. His crew are rather nervous, but since we can't seem to illuminate hands anymore, he has no real way of extricating himself from the king.
Right. Okay. 6 crews. Does that mean we've got 6 captains or more?
More, as a matter of fact. Most of the captains were off vessel, as with their crews. Well, at least of the contact that I've managed to make with the ones that have reached out so far, as I said.
Okay, so this is good. And are they willing to join our cause?
I haven't taken that liberty to address any of those. You understand, I suddenly received a message which, well, quite frankly, sort of woke me up out of my stupor.
Well, I'm really glad you came around because I was starting to really worry about you. And I am really sorry that I may have had a hand in disturbing you there. But it was really necessary that we kind of got that information out, as I hope you understand.
Absolutely. There was a lot of psychic backlash that happened. A lot of us were deeply upset by that revelation. When you pride yourself on knowing what's going on, and then you suddenly don't know what's going on, it shakes your world a little bit.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah, I know how you feel on that front. I'm still a bit like, oh dear, about the whole situation, and I'm really not sure what we're going to do about it. But we'll find a plan, and that's the main thing, right? So
Yes, I will
yeah.
continue to see if I can find more oracles out there, but by the sounds of things, unless they were off the vessels, none of them will be around. With only 6 of us, it will be slow communicating.
Okay. And you say there's an archdeacon still alive talking to the Brunei king.
No, the Archon.
Archon, sorry. Archon. Yes, I don't know why I've got archdeacon stuck in my head. It's some sort of Catholic hang up there. So okay. All right. Archon. Right. So we've got one Archon left.
Well, I guess we have 2, but
Yeah. This is also true. Okay. And Lily, we're going to have to. There's a tiefling on board that wants to kill the Lord Archon because I'm not really sure why, and I think we should probably find out at some point. But I think this is a reasonable course of action because he was in league with the dragons, and I hope everyone agrees with this course of action. At least I would like to relate it to the other oracles that this is our course of action. If that makes sense.
Oracles, we're going to have to figure out how we operate in this new space. Without the Tetrachon acted for us as a central point, a focus, if you like, and allowed us to understand each other in ways that I couldn't possibly explain. Without the Tetrachon, we need to understand our role, and do we have the right to operate the way that we are? There are many questions that will need to be answered, Saket, and we will continue to serve the Order as best we can, and if you wish to speak to any of the captains, merely ask, and tomorrow we can speak with any one of the oracles that I have made contact with. But sorry?
Just one of the oracles at a time?
One of the oracles, yes. As I said, it's the amount of energy that we need to exude in order to be able to make a direct connection is tremendous. The Tetrachon normally would have formed these bridges and links before.
No, I understand that it's like you've lost a server, as it were, like a mainframe point.
A central hub, yes.
Yes, I get that. I limited understand how things work. So, okay, and was Benny Chance Mataro captain? Because I know the other captains are very keen on getting hold of Captain Mataro. Was his oracle one of the oracles you managed to make contact with?
That would be the Skyskov, the ship, the Skyskov, I think. I haven't made contact with the Skykov.
Right. That's a pity. Okay. Well, we'll make a plan on that front because we've got Captain Biz on board. So it's a very lovely guy, really, I'm sure. And he's going to go and find Lataro in the Goblin lands. So that's good, isn't it? Okay, so we have a form of communication, and we just need to get Viz a spare oracle. Are there any spare oracles left, by any chance? No.
We would have to find and train someone, and that takes some time.
It takes a long time. Right. Well, yes. Okay. And there are no ships left, so that's yes. And I think we're going to change our name from the Order to something else. I know. But we'll work on that too. But I'm really glad to see her up. Can I get you another strong cup of tea or anything?
Yeah, between yourself and herself, you sort of do a bit more of a catch-up session. At Trementum, are you heading back to the ship with the barbarian army, or are you sort of lingering at the...
No, I'm waiting because I said I will be here in the evening, which is what I will be.
All
which
right,
is where
absolutely. So yes, time ticks by. Con, it takes you a while to sort of invest the army into the ship.
Captain Ty, meet the new crew members. New crew members, this is the captain.
Oh God.
Point of order,
time.
if you don't mind, employer, says the large woman.
Take it up with the captain. I'm off to the pub.
This titanic woman turns to look at Captain Ty, who seems to have found her hairpins and is once again all neat, prim and proper. And there is an exchange of words that flow. Con, the last thing that you hear drifting up from the harbour is, I am the captain of this vessel, and you will do as told. Is that clear? As you sort of head back, are you going back to the screaming siren, which is now more like the sort of mumbling siren because it's fairly empty?
Yeah.
All right. You get back.
As far as
Atramentum
I know,
is still there.
everyone's gonna end up there eventually.
I get some good wine.
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely could do with some good wine.
Yes. Are you staying in the upper section, Atramentum, in the public public house, or are you you're going down to the tiefling section?
I assume there's a private kind of place where we can talk. That's where I'll be.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So that's where you head. Who are you waiting for again?
For me?
Yeah.
I think they're called Konodana, Yorick, the cat,
Yes,
and
right.
Adosai.
Okay.
But
As
I
long as
met
that
them
is-
2 days ago. I'm not quite sure.
You've met them a couple of times. No, that's good. As long as that's the case, because I was looking at my notes going, I know about my meetings. I don't know who you've got meetings with. Yes, okay. All right. So yes, the the negotiations and that sort of thing go along. You guys can decide how much cargo you purchase, in terms of what you want to spend your cash on and that sort of thing. You don't have to bother about telling me what it is. Just make your decisions there. And then eventually, yes, the night falls and your appointed time to meet with Atramentum arrives. Do you all head to the Screaming Siren?
I'm gonna change back into boring old Jorik again first, though,
All right, that's absolutely fine.
because I don't want to soul my false identity with fraternization with these people.
I reluctantly changed back as well.
Okay.
I've rather enjoyed that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was actually a profitable afternoon, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yes, so you all arrive at the Screaming Siren, and the barkeep shows you to a side room as you arrive. You've been expected, and yes, Atramentum is within.
Oh, he has wine.
He
This
does
is,
indeed.
Oh yes, please, let's do that.
And where did this wine come from? Is it from the Kingdom of Brunei? Because I hear they do very good wine.
It is
No.
indeed. Well, no, this is a particularly fine vintage. It's Britney's. It comes from Gyre on Ghent, which is not too far off from here, as a matter of fact. But it's rumoured that the sea breeze plus the alluvial soils that wash through the swamps create the most fertile soil that you could possibly hope for in terms of growing grapes and things. Anyway, so this one is a particularly good view.
Do you also want something from the hair?
From the air.
Hair. Like rabbit?
Hair?
Something
We're
to
drinking
eat?
red.
Oh yeah, I'm starving now that you mention it.
Actually, yes.
Right. You
Yes,
order.
let's just have a big meal in, and then we can all just kind of eat whatever we want.
All right.
Drink,
So,
eat,
I-
feel satisfied.
I feel like I should impart to everybody because, yeah. She says there's 6 crews still alive. I'm assuming with their various captains,
Oh, that's wonderful.
but she can only communicate with one oracle a day because they've lost their tetricon.
Oh, the Tetracon.
Yes.
Oh no.
So and all of his assistants, which kind of suggests I have a horrible feeling we've lost quite a lot of people in the order.
Yes.
Speaking of
This
which-
is
Honestly, the
looking-
loss of the Tetracon might actually be in our favor, considering that we're not funneling our conversations through anyone controlled by the Order anymore.
yes.
Speaking of which, has our erstwhile friend here managed to gain the information we can now discuss, I presume?
Oh yes, I told her that we were going to do that because his
So how many other people are there in the tavern at the moment?
In this room, it's just the 5 of you.
Oh, great.
There's also a group of rather weird-looking people on board the boat when I left it, and I'm not really sure where they came from. But Captain Tai was seemed to have them in order. If anyone wants to enlighten me where they came from, that would be. There's quite an imposing woman leading the lot of them, and she actually scares me slightly.
Good. That's what her job's there for.
Okay.
The bigger they are, the further they fall.
Did
Yeah,
you find anything about our Archon, Atramenton?
Yes, he was here 3 days ago.
3 days ago.
Here?
Yes. Apparently, he was very wounded, but that's something we knew already.
Yes.
Yeah, that
we
was
did try-
us.
We did try to kill him.
Yes,
Did
very
anyone
much.
see where he went in those 3 days?
Very likely Valenhold.
Then
As we thought then.
Things are coming together. I guess we're heading north.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good considering we've taken a lot of commissions to ferry things north, so that fits very well.
okay, and there was something else I forgot to say. There's an Archon sitting with the Brunei King. So there's one left alive, but his crew don't know what has happened to him. So because he's been in with the king for the last 2 days, which could be a bit of a problem. But
Yes.
oh dear, excuse me, the wine is going to my head. And so yes,
well, you should eat something.
Nolly, I like eating.
Well, I noticed.
Here, I ordered you some spicy filled pepper things.
I like spicy things too.
I
because
know you do.
Oh,
How was the Archon traveling, do you know?
Yes. He was transported away from the Temple of Thunders. 2 days ago, he left in one of the
Thunders.
chariots towards Valenhold under their flag and banner.
How long do you think, roughly, it would take to get to Valenhold by land?
A week, maybe more.
So we might actually, if we get favourable winds, we might get there with a bit of a lead. We'll have to see.
It's true.
Perhaps you can ask your druid friends.
That too. And I don't want to be a stickler in the mud, but we are running out of time with regards to my sister. I know that's a small thing for you, but it's...
What is with your
It's
sister?
not a small thing.
My sister has been kidnapped in Drakenmore by one of the dukes. He wants to turn her into his night wife or breeding stock, as they are.
It will give her power. It's nice.
Ooh.
Not so nice. Well, hopefully.
Jorek, looks like he's gonna punch him and then just...
I just put my hand on Torek's shoulder, just like, easy now. He really doesn't know what he's talking about yet.
Why
There's
you
a,
tense
there's a
up?
faint pink glow on the top of Jorek's hand that just dissipates after a while.
Sensitive subject, Atramentum.
All right, do with your family what you want.
Well, maybe once we've intercepted Gathwin, hopefully we can do that within the week. We can take help from the druids to get there quickly and deal with that.
Mm.
Honestly, as much as distasteful as it is, we might want to have a conversation with the vampire dukes as well. I mean, we've recently done them a rather large favor, even if they don't really know about it yet. And we could use all of the nations in on this whole not fighting each other thing right now.
I have a question which Dork may be able to answer. Are the vampires likely to give two rats left bollocks that we are fighting the dragons at all?
To be fair, probably not. As long as they can run their country as they want, they don't give a shit about what happens in the rest of the world. I guess they wouldn't want the dragons back. But
Historically, they did help defeat the dragons.
They
were
did help.
Pivotal for that part of the continent.
it's the only reason Drakemore still exists. They
How
did
long
help
until the
banishing
ceremony
the
of
dragons.
your sisters?
Sorry, what?
How long until this ceremony?
Well, if I remember correctly, it's around 6 weeks until the next blood moon.
Yes. No, we should.
So we still have time, but
Yes.
Right, we'll set sail tomorrow first with the. Well, we'll set sail with the tide, I guess.
Oh. It's a good thing that Lily's back. We could possibly get into contact with the Kufet. He's actually an Archon as well. If he's still alive, hiding up in the, oh goodness, so many names for everything. Telantari Bay.
it sounds familiar. Kufet, who was that again?
Kufet is someone, I was told, is one of the few people who was actually present at the raising of the anchors a very long
So
time ago.
We're not sure they're a friend or foe then.
No, but considering that they're still alive, honestly,
Okay.
that could go either way. But if they blew up all of the ships, I mean, if they had the option to choose which ships, there should probably still be more of them around, since there were probably more of them that were, friendly to their dragony cause.
Hmm.
It's more likely that this person knows enough to be able to protect his ship.
All right. It's on the list at least.
I mean,
It's a
we need
lead
to
worth
contact him either way.
following up. Yeah.
But if Lily's back around, then maybe we can see if there's a way to do that. Otherwise, hopefully Vis can be heading that way, either way, and make some sort of contact.
Right. Well, as I understand it, Atramentum has an appointment tomorrow, and once he's
There's actually something else I want to do tonight.
Tonight?
Mhm.
I would like to have, if we could work on our teamwork, right? Someone of you who is able to move on silent souls and with a little scruples.
First one
Yeah.
sounds like Jurek, second one not so much.
I guess that would be me because apparently I'm a bit of a grave robber, but I totally object to that
You
description.
did rob a grave, technically. We robbed a
didn't.
grave.
No offense, Stackett, you're as subtle as a ballista, so no.
Yeah.
Subtle as a
See,
fireball.
I think
Yes.
Doric's the subtle one, and I'm good at having not very good script.
Well, in that case,
What do you need?
back up.
I'm
I
quite,
I can do that.
I'm quite
Yeah.
sneaky as well if need be.
Just good with firing off fireballs. I'm not sure.
I don't want to
Just
go on
get back
hunches.
to the
here.
ship.
Well, and the other thing you already know about tomorrow at noon.
Hmm.
But that's not here nor there.
Right.
Sure.
Well, I'm not sure if I want to know what you're up to, but anyway, I'm going back to the ship.
It will be fun.
Have fun. And once you're all back, we can depart for Day. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll
Maybe in the
be-
meantime you can call your tree huggers.
Tree huggers. Oh, the druids. Yes, they
I'll
might-
be having a conversation with Vis and try to work out the logistics of contact and
Well, yeah.
where he'll be going.
I wanted
If-
to talk to you about that because he was talking about getting an oracle, but there are apparently Lily says there are not many oracles left, and she couldn't get hold of the one Mutaro has. So I'm not
Oh.
sure once he's gone to find Mutaro if he can use Mutaro's oracle to communicate back with us. But I was
Hmm.
wondering,
That's
you know,
true.
the stones that we were using to do communication with the Greys. Do you?
Or if Kufet has an oracle, that would also solve some things.
I was just
Hmm.
wondering if Nine could make us some stones. That he could...
Maybe. Oh yeah, Guy, when I gave Nine the stones, did he just hug them or was there any sign of him actually doing anything with them?
Just
I was
a stone
really
hugger.
curious. Sorry?
Just whistling at them.
did they was there anything magical there going on?
Not that you could see. The last time you visited him this morning before you arrived in the harbour.
All right. Well, I'll have to see. I'd have to make doubly sure that he's actually magical. I'm not quite sure. Right now, he's mostly happy, I think.
He's in a happy place.
He's in a very happy place right now. I'm planning on getting him some more rocks while we're here.
All right.
Maybe we can make him a little stone hut that he can live in. That's sound isolating.
Right. Does he like living in a stone hut?
Well, we'll find out.
Oh,
All right,
nice.
so
Yeah.
you three, Saket, Adrasai, and Con are going to go back to the ship.
Before Con leaves, I would just tell him again to emphasize that any second we have to become be able to plan for the arrival of them would be beneficial to us. So I would prefer not to go there by boat.
Say what?
Huh.
If
To go
possible.
with-
To Valenord.
We're
We
not
can't
going.
go there by boat anyway.
I would like to go there via now, not via in 1.5 weeks or whatever it is. I want to be there before the Archon, not Archon arrives.
Yes. Well, I mean, the best chance of that is to take the ship up to Didi.
And see if we can find a druid there.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've got a bit of a marching band going on in the background. There is an actual fact a parade happening in the castle of Lorcan
Well, I
this
could
evening.
turn the webcam and show you the parade.
Yes, no, absolutely. Well, you don't have to. You just have to step outside the screaming siren. There's festivities going on because the Lord Mayor's decided there's a depressive atmosphere because of the war going on with the elves and the merfolk, and this is it's a parade to raise funds for possibly elvish refugees that may be coming across the channel at some point.
Smooth guy.
Yeah, so that's
So-
that's what's going on outside.
Yeah. No.
And then I will take Yorick too with.
All right. So yes, you guys going back to the ship. You're going to go and sort of do look at the stones and that
Go
kind of
find
stuff.
some stones for the.
Yes. I'm gonna
Yeah.
take some cobblestones and just
Gotcha.
a handful of rocks for him.
Perfect. So Atramentum and Yorick, where are you going?
Temple of Thanders.
All right.
Ah, excellent.
It's easy to
Tandas.
get to. The Temple of Tandas is this magnificent structure adorned with statues of men in robes, all looking very scholastic and
Oh, now.
immersed in study and reading, as is the sort of the symbols and things. With the parades and things going on, there's a very jovial sort of carnival mood in the city itself.
So my idea is that obviously I want to wait until it's dark and most of the people are going to bed and whatnot, right?
Okay, all right. So that will take some time.
And I kind of basically tell Yorick what the plan is, that I don't want to go on hunches. I want information. I know that the Archon was here. I know what was done to him, what he said, maybe what his plans, and specifically, I want to know if they know where he went. I want to have proof. And since
Do you
this
want
is
to sneak in or do you want to just walk in?
since this is the Lord Archon, I'm fairly sure that he spoke to the biggest and baddest and highest of the priests here. So I want to go to his quarters and see if there's any paperwork.
Fine, we can do that. If I remember correctly from where we found you, you have a knack for turning yourself invisible, don't you?
Sure.
Good. Me too.
Well, I think we should try to not use any kind of magical abilities as long as we don't need to, but yes,
Fair enough.
they're always fairly useful. But that is why we waited for the night, right? So, okay, so if I think temple or church, I think of big imposing buildings.
That's exactly
And you
what
said
it is.
so before as well, like the temples are the biggest buildings anyways, right? So I don't want to go through the main door. I want to kind of, how do you say this in English? Cat burgle my way into the
Inveigle.
compound.
Yes, you want to sort of make your way in, absolutely.
Right.
Sort of through the back channels rather than. So hang on. When you say cat burglar, do you mean you're going to try and climb over walls, or are you looking
Sure.
for the servants' entrances? And...
No, I want to go in through the I don't know, open window of the servants' quarters.
I
Like a
see.
story.
Yes, absolutely. That makes sense. Okay, not a problem. That's what the two of you are doing. You basically one leads and then the other one follows, and
I mean, that's my plan. If Yorick has better idea, that's fine. But I don't want to go in through the main door because that's where, if anybody is still around, that's where they are, right?
Yeah.
That's where the eyes will be.
We will sneak our way through the
Okay.
temple to get to the quarters of the high priest or whatever he's called.
And just one thing, I can see perfectly in the dark. I can actually see better than anybody else in the darkness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I only have dark vision, so
You've got dark vision.
Yeah, I see in darkness as in light. I don't have any negatives.
Lovely.
Nice.
Okay.
very
Well,
handy.
not a problem. Well, not a problem. But it's not difficult to get into. The temple was not built as a massive amount of defenses. What I will need from one of you is a perception check. You managed to make your way in through the servants' quarters. There is, as a matter of fact, several windows that look out onto the street. They lead into a sort of communal shower area. That's easy enough to get into.
19.
19. You make your way generally fairly casually. This is quite late at night. There's only a few lamps here and there to illuminate. Not that
I mean, I have robes on. I basically look like a rag.
Exactly right. Exactly
In
right.
darkness.
And yes, you move through the servants' areas of the temple, constantly trying to figure out where you are, to get a sense of where the Lord's chambers specifically might be. Tobias, Jorik, as he's moving through, hears a conversation going on between several acolytes. They are very disgruntled because they have to wait up for the return of the Lord because he's attending the festivities at Lorcan Castle. And they're a little bit unhappy about that. They're playing, it sounds like a card game of some sort. That's what you come across. There are 50 ways in which you can avoid chatting to these individuals if you want to. I'm just saying that's what you hear as you pass one of the sort of the side antechambers to the main hall.
Yeah, I just kind of nudge Adramentum as we're sneaking and motion towards them, so he'll probably hear it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, my
absolutely.
perception check was 24. So.
Correct.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hear it.
Carry
and
on
I
going.
kind of just eye him. Now we carry on.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, always lead to Rome, right? So it's good.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. All right. As a matter of fact, you can both give me a religion check, if you please, as you are making your way through.
Oh, wow. 22.
22, yeah. Okay.
I'm worse this time.
In your remember the sort of the nature of Tandas is about knowledge and seeking knowledge, and not necessarily about sort of position within that space. So you make your way towards the large libraries, which are always going to accompany a temple of Tandas, and you reason that if you were a lord, you would probably want to look down onto that library, and sure as nuts, the library that you stepped into goes up maybe 5 stories up with just sort of balconies. It's similar to the Quethlin library, as a matter of fact. It was probably designed off of that idea. And
Is there
his office
anybody
is-
else in the library right now? Like, I mean, would be able
Yeah,
to see because
there-
they would have lights, right?
Correct. There are a few desks on the main floor. As with the Quethlin library, there's staircases going down into the main floor, and sitting at 1 or 2 desks in these little pools of yellow light are clearly young acolytes frantically scribbling down notes and things as they try and swat for a test or an exam or whatever they're busy doing. But they seem completely ensconced in their process.
I telepathically say to Atramentum that we can easily sneak past these. Their eyes will not be used to the darkness. They're sitting at light. We're in the dark. We're fine.
Hello.
Are you going to try and find the sort of the staircases? They count as zigzag around this
Right.
circular chamber.
If that might be an issue, I just grab Yorick real firmly, look him into his eyes, and grab him, and I just fly up.
Right.
I unfold my wings as they come into being,
Okay.
and I will fly up because you said it's open, right?
It is open, absolutely. There are some chandeliers hanging that you need to worry about, or at least you think you need to worry about until you realize that they don't have candles that are burning in them. They've got continual light spells that have been cast, because candles as fire in a library is a bad idea. I
That's
need
bad.
you to give me...
Jorik managed to not scream. Like,
I need you, please, Atramentum, to give me a stealth check. You have advantage.
I mean, okay, sure. The idea is, if we are in danger of being spied, I can just make myself invisible.
Sure, but it's a shadow that's moving up in the background. That's
Right.
That's what I'm.
That's why I mean, like, if I'm
Correct.
invisible, there's no shadow, and if Yorick can make himself invisible, there's no shadow.
All
there's
right.
no shadow.
Still the sound of like huge wings suddenly flapping and
Yeah,
like
it's okay.
air
So
moving.
if you make yourselves invisible, it's fine. You arrive on the
I mean,
upper
that
landing.
seems much easier in this circumstance because I wasn't aware that there was light. I thought it was dark and dank, right?
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily dank, but dark.
Right. You arrive on the upper landing, not a problem. And there is indeed this very imposing office that is flanked by statues of these effigies of Tandas.
So this is a little bit awkward, but since we're both invisible, I will keep my tail around his
Wrist.
Hand.
so we're tethered.
Okay.
So I just flick my tail, twirl it around his wrist.
Yeah, somewhere.
I'm being led by the hand.
Yeah, somewhere
Oh,
Captain Ty
it's
slams
like
the door.
weird
just gonna murder you two.
Darn it! Yeah, but I have no shenanigans being invisible, not knowing where he is.
All right. Yeah. So there are these large, imposing bronze doors with very intricate stained glass inset into them. How
Cool.
what do you
Look
do?
through it. See what's inside.
The stained glass is designed basically to obscure what's happening inside, but to give you the sense that there is, if this was daylight, you would be able to see that there's someone inside, but you wouldn't be able to see what's going on.
Okay. So how big are these doors?
The doors themselves are 5 foot each, so it's a double door that it looks like it would slide open.
Okay, so
And
one
they
door is 5 foot?
It's 5 foot wide and 10 foot
Yeah.
high.
Oh, that's a big door.
They are big doors. This is a big temple. I'll come back to the two of you as you continue to break your way into the head of Tandas's office. Con, you get back to the ship. The ship seems to be running fairly smoothly. There are several large individuals being shown how to coil rope by Mios, who's got quite an authoritative air as he shows how to make a figure of 8 and that sort of thing. Hurricane is striding around on top of the deck with his hands clasped behind his back, looking very much like he's in charge. And as you arrive, he barks out, "Commander on deck!" And everyone sort of stands to and watches as you guys arrive.
Hi.
I feel a great little sense of satisfaction. of all
Commodore Con.
At ease.
this. As you were.
They carry on going about their business. Hurricane approaches. "I do apologize for approaching, and I understand that after a night out on the town that you might not be in the best of moods to entertain guests, but
He
well,
would know.
it would appear that you have a meeting with the head of the Harbargain. Does that make sense? It's the large lady that it's Biora. She wants to speak to you."
Very good. I'll be in the infirmary. You can tell her to find me there.
"Very good, sir," he says as he steps back. All right, so you're going off to the infirmary. Idris, are you going to
go?
go?
Desk there. I'm gonna
Yes.
sit down at my desk and do some catching up on my own bits of paperwork and studying the new knowledge I've acquired.
Lovely.
I suppose I'll take the cat and we can go and speak with Lily and
Lily.
Biss and sort of try to work out the sort of future plans and communications and stuff. We can meet in the map room.
Yeah, logistics. And 9. Can we talk to 9? Well, can you talk to 9 as
I'm
well?
a little low on spells to speak to him. I mean, I'm starting to learn his language, but all I really know how to say so far is, and I'm not
Right.
quite sure what it means. But I'm going there. I'm starting to understand what he's saying at least.
Hasta la biblioteca.
Yes, precis. Donde está la rocks?
Okay.
Yes.
I don't know
Alright.
what that means.
So you
But
four
anyway.
Vart är
try and,
biblioteket någonstans?
try and figure out just what's going on with Lily and Vis and that
Yes.
sort of thing.
Also, as we sort of head towards the map room, I'm going to turn to Saket and go, what do you think about the Fulcrum as a name?
The fulcrum.
Fulcrum. You know what a fulcrum is, right?
Yeah, I do. And is this instead of the order?
I mean, yeah, for now. I mean, we need something to call ourselves.
Well, I like it. We are small, and we are going to attempt to.
Knock some
Well-
huge things on their asses, yes.
Yes, I get where you're coming from. It's a good use of language. And
I thought it was, appropriate.
I like it. I like it. I'm not saying I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it at all. I just, yeah, I like it. I can't think of
Sounds-
anything better, but that's
It might be the general mood, honestly. It's been a long day.
It has been a long day, and I have to admit my brain goes a bit mushy these days, and I'm not really sure why that keeps happening. I really
Are
don't.
you all right? I mean, you
Right.
seem really tired.
Yeah, not much sleep recently, and I'm not sure why that keeps happening either.
It's very odd.
It's very strange.
Maybe you have
So we leave the two
Some
Commodores
kind
as
of
they.
parasites.
I can see this conversation happening. You were heading to the map room and then stopped off at the kitchens and got a cup
Yes.
of tea, and then there was a seat next to the
Yes.
stool, and then the sort of conversation evolved and carried on.
We're heading there to talk to Vis and Lily eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
We'll get there.
Oh, was that
Before
time?
midnight.
Yeah, probably. Jorik
I may
Atramentum,
part
back to
with
you.
my,
Can we
one-
talk? Can you talk psychically without seeing?
No, I have to have visual.
Okay, then I would whisper to you and ask you if you want to stay here and kind of on the lookout if somebody's coming, or if you want to come in with me.
I'll keep an eye out.
Fine. I will drop my invisibility
Sure.
because I kind of need to,
Right.
and I will cast. Oh, actually, no, I don't. Wrong spell. Sorry, I don't have that spell. I thought
Okay.
about it, but that's similar name, different spell. So I don't drop my invisibility because I
Right.
don't need to. And I try to open the door just the slightest.
Okie dokes.
And I actually don't expect anybody to be in there because we heard he isn't here, but you never know. So
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, you slide open the door, and inside, very ornate office, large amounts of wood, lots of books that look very old and very sort of expensive have been tastefully decorated around the space.
yep. And if I
Large.
can get in,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can slip.
is it dark or is it?
Yeah, it is.
there light?
There's no light in here whatsoever.
Good. So in
Um,
complete darkness, then I will
correct.
go in there and.
There's a large desk. Obviously, it's got lots of paperwork. There's files
Great.
and things.
That's
all
where I
over the
start.
place. And what specifically are you looking for?
I am looking for any kind of clues. Maybe he's having a diary. Maybe he's kind of keeping track of what he's doing. Specifically, if a person of such significance came through here, I expect there to be some sort of like paper slip, whatnot
Right.
that mentions it. Anything, because I'm literally looking for like confirmation on what happened to him,
Yes.
what was done with him, and specifically where he went.
Hmm.
Like that. I mean, if there somebody came from Valenhold, they kind of needed to at least talk with him or talk with somebody then that reported to him. Some sort of those kind of lines is what I'm searching for.
Yes. Okay.
Primarily.
And how long are you going to wait?
Wait.
Well,
you mean
not
search?
wait. Sorry. How long are you going to search for?
it depends on how good it goes, I'd say. Like, if I don't find anything at all that even goes along those lines, then I'm not going to search as long. If I'm searching, if I'm just searching something that seems along the lines that I'm searching for, just not on the person I'm looking for, then I'm going to continue searching on as long as Tobias is not giving me the right. I don't know.
What's the emergency call sound in a library? Drop a book on the floor? Yeah. Or
I mean,
and the alarm goes
that's
off
why I
immediately.
wanted more than one person, right? To have a little bit of backup if anything goes wrong.
Right. Okay, so you start going through just sort of piles and piles of paper. Give me an investigate check, if you please, as you go through all this.
Right.
Bits and bobs.
Okay. 17.
All right. You've been searching for quite some time, and you found a few documents which, well, one of them has the giant official seal of Valenhold at the top of it, which is this wonderful gold leaf embossed letterhead, very, very, very sort of officious.
All right, take it.
Oh, okay. It's like, oh, Valenhold, right? It's mine. Right. Okay. So you're not reading anything. You're just kind of going, okay, Valenhold, probably important.
Like, I'm not taking the time to read through the entire thing.
Okay,
if it's like,
sure.
oh, this is interesting, index seems interesting, taking it.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, that's quicker than take a look at it later and see what you got. Right?
Absolutely.
Just like more efficient.
Yes, without doubt. All right. So there's one document which catches your eye, and the reason why it does is because it's got blood on it. Do you take that?
Right, take it.
Okay,
Sure.
absolutely fine.
If it's interesting, I take it.
Sure. Jorik,
Nice
there
to
are
see
6 very heavily armed paladins striding into the main doors at the bottom of the library well.
I mutter
are we?
crap
You're
under my
6
breath.
stories up.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on them to see where they go.
They walk in, and the students kind of, some of them look up, some of them don't look up, because it's a very loud noise as their plate armor is busy sort of clanking through. And they walk up to the students and start questioning them. From here, it's sort of this the echoes and things sort of blur exactly what it is that they're saying, but they sort of walk up to each individual, and they're sort of getting the constant response of heads shaking.
Okay. I'm going to keep my eye on them, and I'm going to assume from Atramentum's skill and experience that he heard the clanking, so I don't need to tell him. That's what I assume anyway.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep my eyes on the paladin, see if they start getting up the stairs. I'm going to discreetly knock the door to warn him.
Absolutely. So they do that. The moment they finish interrogating the students, they split 3, both going to both of the helixial stairs, which make their way up towards the 6th floor. They start marching up there. Again, looking at any levels that have got students on. One of them will break away to go and interrogate the student. The rest continue up the stairs. So
I'm gonna just discreetly knock the door.
That's what happens. You hear a door knocking. You do hear the armor sort of clanking outside. It's unmistakable plate mail on plate mail as they're moving up.
How long since we entered the library?
Probably about 10 minutes.
Okay. How much did I find until this point?
So you've got the official letterhead from Valenhold. You've got the bloodied note that just sort of looked curious. There was another document that you got that you saw at the top of it, attention Valenhold. And then the last document that you can sort of get in this time frame, because there's just stacks of paper on his desk, and you're looking for important stuff. The last document, it looks like a bill of sale or something. But the reason why it kind of catches your attention is, once again, that Valenhold stamp is at the top.
By the way, I just want to break in and say that Jorik cannot maintain his invisibility for that long, so he has been hiding instead.
All right.
Did roll a 28 on stealth.
It's
so.
fine. You're 6 floors up. No one's going to see you. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a little bit more time, but that's why I asked, right?
I can just do it again. It's just Jorg
Yeah.
doesn't bother with being invisible as long as he's hidden.
It is no need to. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the stacks of the day-to-day business that I went through, was there anything interesting at all noted down there? Like, was there a stack as such as these things?
Absolutely. Day-to-day running. Yes, correct.
How much does the stack weigh?
Stack of papers, you're probably looking at about maybe 2 pounds.
Good.
It's a sizable chunk of paper.
Yeah,
but
not
the whole
anymore. They're
thing-
in my bag.
All right.
Next thing of business, looking around, any kind of interesting shigamajigs, like the scepter of smiting anything evil or something.
You look around there. Well, let's see. I don't think he would have done that. No, he didn't. So there's a robe that's, well, it's not a robe. It looks more like a ceremonial cloak. That's got symbols of Tandas in gold chain.
Then just real quick, opening the drawer, seeing if there's any jewelry in there.
All right. Give me a dexterity saving throw as you rip open the one drawer.
22.
22. All right. As you open the drawer, there is this sort of burst of divine light which shoots up. Jorik, you're kind of watching the paladins. The next minute, this huge amount of illuminating light. Well, it's not a huge amount, but it feels as if someone has just shone
It's
the
in
sun
darkness.
on you,
It's
right?
like a
Correct. It's this beacon of light sort of flares out from behind you.
Crap.
And for a moment, you see that the stained glass windows in the doors, with the light shining through them, cast this most amazing light display on the opposite wall, which is very impressive.
Shiny.
It's at that point that the paladins immediately start charging up the stairs.
Oh, crap.
everything's cool.
Everything's cool. Everything's fine. I didn't get
Well,
blasted.
I'm not
Like
worried.
if-
really well hidden, so he's gonna stay there.
I am not worried yet.
Inside the drawer is a book. What makes it unusual is it looks like it's new.
Great, take it.
The
Anything
binding
else?
is that way, and then there is a sack of
Great, take it.
coins.
All right.
Yeah.
Coins? Not
And he
less
totally
interesting.
takes over from me.
Coin-
I don't want to hear any more
coins.
comments.
Sure, no. Coins, take them too. Okay, now next on the order of business. Look around. Is this an entirely indoor room or are there windows?
No, there is a very large, very beautiful window that seems to look out over the.
I'm sorry. Not anymore. Time to go.
All right.
Yeah.
So are you calling Jorik?
Do you dive out the window? Because Jorik will hear it.
I will chair window.
All right.
Yeah.
There's this
Use
loud,
chair on window.
loud smashing sound as the chair goes through the window and then disappears down 6 flights of floors.
I mean, with
As
the light
Jorik
beacon
hears
going-
that, he's gonna run into the room.
all right.
with light beacon going off, I mean,
Correct. Correct. All right. And
I'm
Oh,
for
I'll follow.
subtlety.
Go. I say to him.
All right. So-
you leap out the window.
So yeah,
You're
question.
underneath,
Before,
right?
before I just jump out.
Yeah, just jump out.
Before I just
If
jump out.
Atramenton doesn't jump out, I will jump out.
Yeah. I will jump out, but I want to know a little bit more about the architecture.
All
So
right.
if there's like a tower, and then
Yes.
there is like 100 feet nothing, and then shit in the ground, that's fine.
Correct. That's pretty much what it is. So there's the central library tower which reaches up that cliff face as I described it when you first.
I mean, I can
arrived.
fly. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I just drop my invisibility
Right.
at this point and come to me, and then I just fly away.
Yeah.
Just fly
I jump
away.
out the window and
I mean, if I can catch him, if I can carry him, I will. If you
Oh,
don't
yes.
let that do that, then there are other ways for me to do things. But
There are.
yeah, if you want to carry me, that if that's the
this
communication,
works-
then
this
that's
works-
fine.
if this works, I'm okay. If I can carry him, if that's
Otherwise, Jorik will just teleport to the ground and run.
yeah, I mean, I can do shit like this too. But
So we're fine.
All right.
I am, as I said, not worried yet.
Not worried yet.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
So-
All right, so So I like if Yorick nods and seems he's okay, then I'm not going to do that stunt. So what I will then do is cast darkness on the now opening in the wall and just like fly through it and just leave the darkness behind us because they cannot see outside if there's darkness.
And they can't see outside. All
Yeah,
right.
Jorik's gonna dive out the window and fall.
Yeah, right. I didn't want to do this because that's actually an interesting question that never really, there's no rule for it. Like if you teleport to the ground,
Yeah, do you keep your
it
momentum?
exactly. World of Warcraft has like a very peculiar way with dealing things. You just appear on the ground, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you have the momentum and you keep the momentum and you wait too long,
Splat.
you insta
Yeah.
ground, right?
Speedy
Correct.
thing goes in, speedy
Correct.
thing
But
comes
I can
out.
fly. That's why as I said, I'm not worried.
No.
And if Yorick seems he's cool, then fine, right?
All right.
And Jorik's experience with these tests and things is that he does
Yeah.
not keep his momentum. So
He
How
fell
far
down
can you
into the water.
teleport? Because that's a
100
question.
and no wait, actually, 6 times 20 feet.
So 120 feet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's fine. That's more than enough than
Just
you need. So
Pop,
you
pop,
sort of
pop, pop,
I mean,
pop.
I could just wait until I'm closer to the ground before I teleport.
right.
you know.
Well, we'll absolve you of needing to worry about physics because as you
Thank you.
as you clear the darkness, you can immediately teleport to the ground. So you haven't picked up much speed there, I suppose.
And then I just run.
And then you just run as Atramentum just sort of flies away casually.
Yeah.
From the distance. Con, the door is politely knocked on, and you notice with a little bit of alarm that the door bends when it's being knocked on.
It
I'm,
stays like this.
I'm sitting at my
walls.
little
Obelix!
desk near the window. There's just a lantern on the desk, reading a big, thick treatise on what appears to be various creatures of some sort. Enter.
The door is very carefully opened, and this the large woman enters with difficulty. She's not used to confined spaces such as one might find in the below decks of the Windswift. And she says, I believe we need to have an exchange of words, as once again the negotiations have failed to divulge the extent of our contract, and I believe we've been misled.
Do come in. Try and find. I believe that chair should be fine. Would you like a drink?
You point to the chair. She looks at the chair and she stands next to it and raises a leg and sort of stamps down on the top of the chair and sort of rests her arm on her leg. It's very comfortable. Thank you for consideration. I appreciate it. It's
Drink?
no, thank you. Not while I'm in negotiations. I like to have a clear head. It helps me to understand my opponent's motives better. Victory first before anything else. That's our motto.
All right. Suit yourself. I've already got a glass on my desk next to my book, so I just top it up with the.
And you're already a few glasses of wine into it. Right?
Whiskey in.
Never mix your alcohols.
I think there was a failure of communication. We are a mercenary band. You would employ us to protect things, to defend things. We're not necessarily in the business of sailing. I wouldn't say that you could call us sailors in the slightest. As a matter of fact, several of us get quite seasick, and it.
And I believe it's you who've misled me.
I don't think so. I was fairly clear in our representation.
Your previous engagement was a
Protecting
naval.
the vessel of an elvish captain. Yes, we protect
which
the
you
vessel.
did successfully.
Correct. The vessel is still intact.
Where was the vessel?
Once again, I get the sneaky suspicion that you're trying to get hold of an empty vessel that's no longer being protected by the individuals who were hired to protect it. But because you're
So
my
it's at
current
sea.
employer, I'm forced to respond to your question. It's about 7 miles to the south.
Good. So then, what's the problem with you taking employment on another vessel?
The problem is we've been assigned to the roles of sailors, and we don't know how to sail. and there's an
Don't
expectation.
know how to sail.
That's correct.
Is there a problem with the instructions you've been receiving? The tuition training, on-the-job training? Is it not meeting your requirements? Are you finding it that you're not understanding what is required or what you're being taught?
She spins the chair around and kind of sits over it and leans forward. No, I don't think you quite understand our predicament. We did not sign on to become trained as sailors. We are barbarian mercenaries, so we will protect you from whatever might want to harm you.
In order to do that effectively, you need to know how to sail a ship, because we're going to be on it a lot.
That might be the case in terms of an
Do I need
emergency.
to pay you more to take on? I would have thought that expanding your group's skill set would only make your men more effective, but would also make you able to command a higher price at your next contract.
You do raise a valid point. I will concede that was not an outcome that we had anticipated in our discussions that we had amongst the men. I will take that back to them. And
I should hope that it could also impress on your men, and I can impress upon you that you can expect only fair dealings from us. We will pay you well, and I can assure you that I'm not attempting to put you at any kind of disadvantage. But we do need you to take on board the operational realities of ship life.
I see the pun that you made there, and I appreciate it. It's humor is always good in the workplace to maintain cordial relations between employer and employee.
Please, don't hesitate to raise any concerns you have at any time if I am awake.
Yes,
If the door is open. If the door is open, then by all means do come in.
This has been
Well,
very
since
productive.
the door is now completely broken.
Yes.
Can no longer close.
Yes, good. This has been very productive.
I did want to know, what was your usual rate?
Usual rate for the company? Yes. So the usual rate for the company was 15 gold a day. For travel days where there's no combat involved, it's 5 silver a day per person.
So 15 gold per day if you're actively fighting, 5 silver per day per person if you're not fighting.
That's correct, yes.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to our contract negotiation in a month's time.
Yes, at the review. I would personally think of it as a favour if after a week you gave me some personal assessment that I might take back to the men so that we can make sure we're within your
Absolutely.
parameters.
Not a problem. I'm sure you will get a lot of feedback from Captain Ty, but I will be very happy to give you a summary evaluation on a weekly basis.
I knew you were the sort who would have an understanding mind, and I appreciate it, she says as she stands up. And she goes to the door, she turns back. And if I might say, just personally, I think you have nice legs. Now, good night, she says as she closes the door and leaves.
Yeah.
The two of you, I'm not gonna go to the ladies. They're busy laughing. So Jorik and Etramentum, you guys arrive back. Are you heading back to the ship? Are you going to regroup?
Not directly.
I'm trying to keep my eye on the
So
bat.
I would land obviously as quick as possible because being the only thing in the sky.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. It is a dark
I
night,
would
but,
want to go back to the screeching
Yeah,
siren,
yeah.
Screaming siren.
screaming siren, and see what we have. So what I wrote down, I think I forgot one thing. I said letter for Valenhold, receipt of Valenhold, fancy book out of the drawer, sack of gold, blood letter, which is the blood
Yes.
kind of letter,
Yep.
and big stack of data information. I think there was one more thing.
Yes,
but...
there was an inventory.
all right. Okay.
Correct. So you want to go through all of that.
Yeah, I don't like. What did I actually take with, and like we can go through it, both of us, and we have some more time. And if anything would come, we still get warned here. So
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So just give me the.
So as I land and tell this to Yorick, I say, like, before we go back to the vessel, I think we should see what we found. Make sure no one is following us. And
Right.
good job.
Same to you.
There
wanna go
are
back to-
alarms being rung across the city and calls of
Oops.
thieves and things, but you both sort of safe in the knowledge going, there is no way they will ever find out who did what. I mean, what are they going to say? Bats broke into the Lord's chamber.
I mean, if it goes towards the thieves guild, I don't care.
That's what cares.
It's their problem to
Right.
worry about.
Absolutely. Okay, so you're going to go and start going through this. I'll come back to you now shortly. Idris, Saket, you chatting with Lily and with Vis.
Yep.
There really is, unless you get an oracle to Vis, the best solution that you guys can come up with at the moment is just to continue using that sending option that Adversai has.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we can do that until something else shows up.
Unless you're
but
going to
just-
investigate those stones, but neither Vis nor the Oracle knows anything about those stones. So
Yeah.
And we
I-
don't really either. So.
Yeah, I mean, I can take a look at them tonight, but could Lily perhaps try to contact the Stockstover?
Lily will be able to do
Doctor?
that tomorrow once she's had some rest. Yes.
Yes, good, because then we could do that tomorrow morning. I will have looked at the stones, and we can reconvene with everyone and work out a more long-term plan. And I will absolutely keep contacting you until an oracle can show up.
All right. Okay, so that's that's exactly. She will do that to first thing when she's awake, and hopefully there is the oracle. Hopefully they can make contact. All right.
Excellent.
Anything else that you two of you want to do before we go back to Jorik and Atramentum with the list?
Well, I kind of pull at. I'm like, bye, Vis, bye, Lily. I will see you soon.
All right.
Oh, have a good night.
Josiah, I'm going to do something I probably really shouldn't.
What?
I'm going to read my uncle's book.
Your uncle, the magic person?
Yeah, I know he told me not to, but
What kind of book are we talking about here? Because we've
uh,
had a bad track record with mysterious books.
well, I know, but he wrote it, so I think he wrote most of it. So I mean, it can't be like your book, right? It can't suck my soul away, and I don't think.
Well, I mean, I could try to figure out if it's terrifyingly magical if you want before we do anything with it, but
Might be wise, but then I think I'm going to disregard his orders and read it. So
honestly, if you need any backup, if you want me to check in on you, I am here for you. I know
that's fine.
scary magical shit is scary, and I'm with you.
okay, so I may be gone for some time, but could you pull me out of the cabin if you hear like gibbering mad noises and
I can check in every few hours.
yeah, that could work.
I'll check in on
Alright.
you early tomorrow morning and see if you're still there. If
Yeah,
that's all right.
that works too. I think that definitely.
Yeah, let's just you can
I don't
try
know
to
if
get
it's a
some
good
sleep
idea.
as well, and not just scary book stuff.
Okay, so I'll go into trance and then I'll read my uncle's book. This is probably a good idea. But
Good,
I
good.
do
Get
need
into it with a rested mind.
Yeah, I do need someone to come and check up on me who understands that sometimes reading books can impart or do weird things.
Oh yeah, I got that.
All right,
You know.
so you make your plans. Okay, let's go through those lists at Trementum. The first list is that, well, let's go through the inventory that you were looking at.
Okay.
It's a rather unusual catalogue of books that between the two of you, you realise these are religious texts. But the books themselves must be worth a small fortune. There's 10 books listed there. And there's a handwritten note at the bottom saying, if these don't satisfy our deal, then nothing will. The Brackar is mine. And that's all the note says.
Okay, it doesn't say anything. It doesn't mean anything
it
to me.
does. It does. At the top of it, it says. There's a word. It says Venkatani, and then it's like a comma. Then there's the list of those 10 books, and then if this doesn't satisfy nothing, well, the Brakar is mine.
Okay.
That should mean something to Jorik.
Well, if you remember us, right?
Maybe.
Look at the...
I don't know. Maybe.
Probably, yes.
All right.
Okay. The next.
But that's the interesting part of the inventory.
Yeah.
Yes, and the reason why you picked it up was because this name Venkatani appears in that official Valenhold letter. And it looks as if, well, not looks as if, I mean, you can read the bloody thing. It's very flowery, it's very verbose, but the gist of it is that an individual by the name of Lord Belgain has written to my most magnificent grace, divine master and keeper of Tandas's knowledge. That's how sort of grandiose it is. I present unto you a very good friend of mine. If you were to take him under your wing and provide him with shelter and protection, he would be ever so grateful. And then it goes on to say, Dengathwin is going to be a remarkable guest who has...
So the friend is then the friend is this guy.
Correct. So Dengathwin is the friend of Lord Belgain, who has now sort of... And it goes on to say, I have sent him by official Valenhold carriage unto your charge and care, as he is concerned for his safety. He is but
he should be now.
He's but a humble administrator within an organization that we have great respect for, and is worried for his life. If you could be so kind as to protect him with all our means, etc., etc., etc.
Okay, so basically what I read here is the inventory says the high priest offered these 10 books to the friend who is this Dengathran, who then said no, thank you.
No. So the two documents aren't linked, except the very verbose letter was signed by Lord Belgain.
Yes.
And it was addressed to His Grace Venkatani. The inventory started by saying Venkatani. 10 books.
So Venkatani is the high priest.
Yes,
probably.
Correct. So that inventory looks as if it was like an exchange. I'll give you these 10 books. You give me this thing called the Brakar, whatever the hell that might be.
So the question is who has the book and who has the 10 books in offering. That's not clear right now.
Yes, that isn't necessarily clear. Correct.
Okay.
That letter, which has the gold sort of letterhead on top of it, obviously was going to be sent off the next morning because it was still on his desk. And you know that Dengathwin left 2 days earlier, right? So the letter hasn't been sent yet. The bloodied letter.
Yes.
I do tell Atramentum to keep that about the Talbrakar.
Sure.
Because that can be handy when we're chasing after Dengathwin.
Right.
Yep.
So, the bloodied letter, it's been folded into a self-containing envelope. And on the outside of it it's some letters. The letters are BTK, GHKHR.
BTK, GH?
BTK, GH, BR. KH, GR.
So GHK? Like somebody spoke in the middle of when you started saying it.
Yes. Now where's the bloody note gone? Okay, I'm going to write it down.
Bravo, Tango, Kilo, what's G? Gamma, I guess? I don't know.
GHGR.
Golf.
GH.
Again, somebody talked.
BTK, GHGR.
GR. All right, got it. Thank you.
Right.
Okay,
do either of you speak Orc?
No.
No.
Oh, I do. You don't know that.
No. All right. So that's
Sorry.
what's written on the outside of it. And then inside of it, it simply says en route Kranos Prague.
Okay, got it.
What else was there? Oh, the sort of the notes, the financial sort of statements and things.
Yeah,
It
but there was
takes-
also a note on it.
I beg your
That's what
pardon?
you said.
The book.
And the receipt things, there were also like a Valenhold insignia or like a stamp or whatnot.
Yes. Okay. So the one is it looks to be like a formal rebuff from Valenhold, and it's simply along the lines of you've been allocated your funds and you won't be allocated any more. It's just a shorthand kind of note that's been sent through, and then the actual notes themselves look to be like the financial planning. It will take you some time to go through it, but between you and Jorik, by sort of 4 a.m. in the morning, you've worked out that whoever was running this temple, this Lord Belgain, has been authorizing the sale of quite a large number of books, probably about 120 books in the last 3 months have been sold off to raise funds. And there's little notes in amongst the pages where there's obviously a bursar, and the bursar keeps saying, what do we need all of this money for? At the very bottom, there's a purchase of 3 books, which comes to a total of about 20,000 gold for those 3 books. Those 3 books happen to be on the same list of 10 that you previously read. So they
Of the offer. Okay, got it.
correct. Correct.
All right, so then there's only the fancy book
Correct.
out of the drawer and the sack of gold.
Yes. The sack of gold, you open that up. It looks to be about maybe 250 gold pieces, somewhere around there.
Right.
255 maybe, if you're lucky.
Got it.
The book looks to be a fresh transcription. The transcription, however, you probably do actually. Actually, what am I saying? You probably do. How is your abyssal? Is it any good?
Pretty good.
Your abyssal's pretty good.
I'm pretty fluent.
Pretty fluent, absolutely. So the book is written in abyssal, which means that the words move when you try and read them, but you know how to catch them so that you can read them correctly.
Ja, hört sich ungefähr so an.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas to Jorik, it's sort of like looking at one of those 3-dimensional pictures where you have to kind of skew your eyes and then you see the dog.
Oh, great. That gives me migraines. Let's not do that.
Right. Well, there we go. So yes, the book it's like a treatise of the history of the planet or something. Yeah, it's a very dense kind of tone, but this is a copy made of an original book.
All right, so it's basically garbage.
It doesn't. Well, what it contains, you don't know. It's like, I'm chucking over your shoulder. Barkeep, here, what will you give me for this? Give me another beer, I'll give you the book. Okay, great.
That's not what I said. I just said, like, doesn't think
I don't think Adversary is
of
going
vast
to.
importance.
Yeah.
I would be crying. Just like I wake up in a cold sweat for
Yes.
no reason. What happened?
There's a book in trouble. I
It
can
was like
feel
a
it.
cry of 1,000 souls and then silence.
Yes.
1,000 pages being
Exactly.
burnt.
All at once. Absolutely. Adversary, do you go and see 9 before you retire for the evening?
Yeah, I want to give him all the stones.
Ah,
And
yes.
I think I'm gonna sort of show him the communication stones and sort of see what he.
Oh, okay. Well, as you sort of
Also,
come down.
I can actually cast. I can cast tongues one more time. So I'm gonna cast this as well to sort of ask him about them, basically.
Okay. As you go down, he comes running up to you, and he's got something behind his back. And as you kind of come to a stop, he holds out his hand, and one of the stones that you originally gave him, you're not sure what he's done to it, but it looks like a little cat standing on 4 legs with its sort of ears perked up, and he kind of hands it over to you. Stone Shaper, he says.
Is this for me? You made this for me? Thank you. I love it so much. This is fantastic.
Yeah, looking behind him, you can see he's done the rest of the stones into different sort of animal shapes and things. Some look like they've mutated into like a 12-armed tentacle monster because he's been out of practice for 5 millennia.
This is fantastic. And I'm not
Octagon.
seeing any tools or anything, am I?
No, nothing whatsoever. And no flakes of stone either. It's all just neat.
Definitely magical.
When you hold out the communication stones to him, he sort of tentatively touches the first stone, and as he touches it, he suddenly looks down at it and he whistles. And as he whistles, you see sort of emerging out of the stone this shimmering green image of a hideously deformed, it looks like the head of a wolf, but there's absolutely no fur on it whatsoever. It's completely, it's wrinkled. It's like there's this very unsettling look to it. And you can see that certain parts look as if they've have suppurating wounds on it. And it's just looking straight ahead. Every now and again, it sort of looks around, looks away. It seems to be talking to something, sort of out of sight. Shakwantil whistles again, and it disappears.
Is that the person on the other with the other communication stone?
It's what's in the
what?
stone.
That's what's in the stone. Yes, because this stone is talking to another stone very far away.
And the Greys have got some weird disease going on that makes them go bald and have festering sores all over them.
That's fantastic. What about the other stone? Are they both? Because there were 2 of them, right? Yes. They both?
He takes the other stone and he sort of bangs them together. He whistles, and then he holds up the one stone, and you see yourself looking at yourself with him standing next to you. And he kind of sort of sidles up next to you so you can both be in the same sort of flickering image. And then he holds up this stone.
Oh, yeah, so this is...
Linked.
Yes. Yes, they are. That's fantastic.
And on that note, we'll be back next week when the adventures of the Windswift continue, as we will return, of course, hopefully with, en route to wherever it is that the crew are going to be going next. Who knows? We'll find out when we do return. So if you don't stay with us for the review, thank you for watching. Goodbye. For the review, let's move swiftly forward. Number 4, that's you, Saket. You're up first. Lots of skullduggery and tea conversations going on, really, in this episode.
Yes, and I'm not the one doing all the stealing this time, so...
Yes.
I feel that's important.
But he's a tiefling. We expect it out of him.
But still, I'm no longer the one that's a grave robber, okay?
Well, he
I didn't rob
technically...
any graves.
Yes, technically hasn't
No.
took any
I
graves
didn't
yet.
technically rob any graves either. Like, I just, pointed out there was a stone on one of them.
Yeah, I think maybe that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
tell it
take
to
that.
the judge.
It was a
tell to
joint
the
effort.
judge. There we go.
I just opened the damn thing, okay? Anyway,
Right, yeah.
but yeah, it was interesting because we kind of got a lot of our logistics done there.
Yeah, the communications thing seems to be coming right.
Maybe I was onto something there after all. The cat is always right. Most of the time, anyway.
I remember you. I will remind you of this.
We will remember this day when this decree was made. All right, absolutely.
Yeah. I may regret that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and now she's gonna retire to her room and possibly do something really fucking stupid. But we will see.
Correct. Adversary?
Ah,
What's the
no,
progress do you feel?
yeah, no, it feels good. It feels like for the first time we're actually proactively doing something instead of just kind of chasing after other events sort of thing. Like we've been running from stuff other people are doing, but now it feels like we're sort of possibly getting half a step ahead on something at least.
Right.
Like we're working on actually doing things and organizing things and like creating this new group and sort of which feels really good. It feels like we're actually, it feels like we're a bit more powerful and like we're a bit more like that there's a chance that we could actually affect the world on a like global scale and not just whatever we encounter and smack in the face.
Right.
And
The
also
Fulcrum? Talk to me about the Fulcrum, coming up with that name. Is that the name
Yeah.
going forward? It'll be, in the name of the Fulcrum, we order you to stop.
I don't know. It feels like it's more of a sort of temporary name for the group of moving the world. I don't know. I was thinking about moving the world and sort of things, and I was thinking about that old quote. Oh God, now I can't remember his name because I have a brain fart. But the person, old Greek person who said that, give me
It was
long enough.
Archimedes, right?
Maybe. Yeah, and give him a long enough lever and a place to stand, and I can move the world.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And I
Guy
just
that
got
made
to thinking about that. Sorry?
The guy that made the screw that brings up water.
Archimedes.
Yeah,
Archimedes.
Archimedes. Yes, and I was just thinking about I just like the word fulcrum.
Right.
I just think it's a word. Also, I think it's really interesting that when I was making Idris as a character, I was looking around, or a couple of other people, Saget and Jorek, which I talking about which gods that they had picked, and I was like, oh yeah, I should pick a god, shouldn't I? I sort of looked through them, and I was seriously considering Tandas for a long time until I went, no, I don't think they've decided. I think they're undecided.
Yeah. Interesting. Con, did you expect to be going into wage negotiations? I didn't expect that either, to be perfectly honest with you.
I was actually, so I was quite satisfied by the whole thing,
Yes,
where
you handled it very diplomatically, I have to say. I think if
Con is definitely the diplomat of the team.
yes.
I want them to want to stay.
Right.
Eventually down the line, I'm hoping that people we make hires of transition from employees to members, as it were. But obviously this takes time to build up. I enjoyed your barbarians. I particularly enjoyed the juxtaposition, like, we're sort of trying to get this new thing started. And it was we were on the ship doing our thing, and we had the Black Ops team doing like their thing out at the temple at the same time. So we had this sort of nice little juxtaposition for conversations in the infirmary about crew wages, and meanwhile out in the temple,
Breaking in.
getting the intel.
Right, absolutely.
So I like that. I just enjoyed the episode all around. I think, as Jenny says, building things.
Right.
I like playing strategy games, kind of give a big picture. Actually, a lot of my reason I enjoyed being quiet in this session was that my mind was spooling ahead a lot about ideas that were just popping in about what we could do.
Yes.
And so on, which you'll probably hear about in due course.
No, absolutely. I look forward to it. Absolutely.
Along with everyone else, we'll discord about it.
And Jorik, you were playing Batman's sidekick tonight, I think. Jorik / Robin Natalia.
Not sure if Batman would be cool with this kind of action.
I'm not sure if Batman would wrap his tail around Jorik's wrist, but that's a whole different fantasy.
Oh, you were doing about the Batman.
I'm pretty sure about that one.
Yeah, no, he takes care of his little Robins.
Yeah, he does actually.
No, honestly,
Boy.
it was
Don't you start.
Back on track.
it was great fun actually, and I have to give it to Simon there because Atramentum is kind of a loner type character, sort of, and
Right.
the way he involves others in his loner stuff is a great way to do it. To not be this I need to do my own thing character. So that's I'm Batman, exactly. So that's a great.
Batman.
I'm Batman. So it was fun having a bit of a Batman night out, so to speak.
Yes.
And as for the rest of the episode, I've been sitting here just basking in your fantastic Swedish accent.
It's so good.
I mean, the pronunciations are kind of off because you're
Sure.
not using Swedish sounds, but you have the
Yes.
cadence, the timbre, and the melody perfect
Right,
of,
Yeah,
a,
it's
of a
really
Swede
good.
speaking English. It's just gloriously ugly, and I love it.
It's
Yes,
fantastic.
to listen to every week, right? So
Yeah, I mean, every time we turn on the TV and hear a Swedish politician or someone speaking English, it's just, oh God, shut up.
Right.
Why?
It's
Right.
Why
glorious.
does it feel like this?
Yes.
So that's also
Absolutely.
very fun. I like how everything is coming together now. We're building a crew, we're building groups, we're sending out
Yes.
people, we're starting to take control of the adventure, so to speak,
Right.
which is great.
Yeah. That's good.
I think that was all I had. Yes.
Yeah. And Batman, Trementum.
I'm Batman.
Batramentum, yes.
Sorry.
I mean, metagame speaking wise, don't go alone, right? Like you
Yes.
don't know what's gonna happen. Have some backup. So just aside from this just being better to involve other people in your kind of escapades, also just don't go alone. Like if you're the rogue or roguish kind of character, your ass is flying in the wind, man. You kind of like you better be ready. Right? And with I knew that they were the other player were not just like 50, 60 or 100 feet behind me. They were like at the other side of town. Just metagaming wise, it's just like that's how you get your characters killed, right? Like that's the way. And I mean, if you want to learn how other people work and tick and kind of, it makes sense to take them with you to see, okay, do they have scruples? Would they kind of squee at or like, right? Like
Sure.
is this, or do they actually have your back? And I mean, again, not worried. Not worried. Other things, more worried.
Right.
So this also was like a test, like for both, I guess. So from that regard, it makes absolute sense for the character to do this, to see where everybody stands. His headspace right now towards the two casters in the party, not very positive, as for the last fight that happened, where they basically were just, I don't know.
Right. So he's trying to assess
But-
where everyone fits. Yeah.
Exactly, and I mean, it doesn't need to. I don't need to kind of bash on it in the sessions all the time because there was just one possibility for them to actually do anything, anyways, right? So yeah, there needs to be testing done, and kind of the fronts need to kind of be cleared because obviously, putting your life in the hands of other people is for a loner.
There's got to be
Not very
trust
natural
in-
thing to do.
Correct.
Right, so there needs to be reassurance, and I think that's kind of the goal for that. So I could kind of basically hit more flies with one stone than
Correct.
possible. And again, generally speaking, being a little bit taking the time to make sure and not just follow on hearsay seems like a thing that ought to be done.
Absolutely.
Specifically, this character would do it. So that was one of the leads, the only lead, quote unquote, on that regard to make sure. Then not just like, well, I assume.
Correct.
And yeah, well, if you learn something, you learn something. If not, you got 250 gold, bro. Whatever,
Exactly,
right?
exactly. And the other thing was that it allowed me to go, okay, well, the notes that you found there, I just needed to tweak a few things, and it was what you were going to find later on, perhaps. But because you took the time to go and do it now, you can get that information now, and that might actually change the routes that you take. I don't think it's going to change it too much personally, but yes.
I mean, like maybe in the future, who knows? But yeah, just like I wanted to play this character. Also, he's a different character than Blackstone. He is more reserved, more kind of planning, making sure that cautious, that everything goes to plan, not just like, oh, this seems like the obvious way. Let's go this, and then just already like 5 steps in that direction taken, right? So.
Correct. Anyway, thank you for being. Thank you guys for playing. I always enjoy our
Thank
sessions.
you for Dungeon and Mastering.
And thank you for complimenting me, or not. I'm still trying to work out if it was a compliment or not.
It is
On my
definitely a
my
compliment.
very bad Norwegian
Swedish
or
accent. Norwegian
sort of
accent.
Swedish. It's a new one that I found, and I quite like it. It's very nice actually, because you sound polite no matter what you're saying.
Sound very nice.
Just expect us to cringe on occasion because we don't.
Oh,
like
it's
it. But you're
wonderful.
doing it so good.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
All right. Anyway,
Love
thank
it.
you all for watching us. Tune in again next week when we continue with the adventures of the Windswift. Till then, goodbye.